This is I Should Be Writing, episode 12 in season 21.
Well, I should be writing. I should be working on my craft. I should be writing. I should be submitting my next draft. But I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who.
Hi there, welcome to I Should Be Writing. This is a podcast for wannabe fiction writers, and I'm your host, Mur Lafferty. I'm about to release my 8th book, July 1st. Pre-order now, or if you're listening to this on the podcast, you can probably just order it as is. And I've been doing this podcast for almost 20 years. Have I said enough? Have I said everything I need to say? Probably, but I'm doubting most of you are not going to go back and listen to hundreds of hours of podcasts, so this might be the first time. But this is the first time I have covered the bullies. So to start off, accountability. I have actually had a very productive week. I have made it a point to prioritize writing. Something I've wanted to do for years. I don't know what switch flipped. I've got no idea, but I've managed to write every day. Am I writing on my book every day? No. But that's helping me, A, stay creative, and B, kind of bop around different projects. And I'm not behind. And I'm not late on my book. I've got plenty of time. And these projects allow me to approach the book from different angles, because one of them is connected in the same universe. I'll talk about that later. But I have been writing every day. And as I just told the live stream before I started the official recording, I have been hyper-focusing all day on one project that I've been avoiding, which felt great. But unfortunately, that meant I did not want to do this podcast. So I'm not quite in the streaming mind, but I'm going to try. But yeah, I did the thing which is good, but not financially sustainable, which is I have done a lot of co-working on Focus Mates. But recently, a local friend of mine who freelances from home, no, he doesn't freelance from home, but he usually works from home, told me he goes to a local cafe. And so I've been meeting him, and we've been co-working together just a couple of times so far. It's not sustainable because all the prices of all the things have gone up. So, it's not a coffee shop. It's an actual cafe where they want you to order food and stuff. And after several hours of writing, I usually want that. But anyway, thanks to the getting away from the house, getting away from any chores that would distract me, I went to the common market today and did a lot of good work. So I was very happy with that. Underpope reminds me that he's pre-ordered it from Flyleaf. I'll be going there on June 30th to sign all those books. I'll get yours signed soon, Underpope. But yes, if you order from Flyleaf Books, you can find the link on my site, very easy to find in the show notes. You can get a signed book from me, and you can support a local independent bookstore. And I think most of us can agree that's necessary these days. So to sum up what we've talked about so far, I have created the bullies because everyone talks about the inner editor or inner voice or whatever, but that's not harsh enough for what these jerks are. So I call them bullies because they stop me from writing. They stop me from believing in myself. So far, I have 8. And we have covered Bart, which is the only one with an actual name because it was my original bully. I just always pictured this potato giving me the finger. And after that, we created the Blade, which is like Bart, just tells you you're garbage. You can't write. What do you think? Why are you thinking you can write? You can't. It's pretty simple. Just like the stupid bully who can't come up with anything clever to hurt you with. It hurts, but it's like, I can probably prove you wrong. Stop it. Just shut up. But the Blade is different. The Blade is a very pokey thing. The Blade likes to say, well, sure, you may be good, but that person's better. But that person got a bigger deal. But that person got a TV show. But that person's a bestseller. But that person won a Hugo. And you will never own up to them. You will never compare to them. That is what the Blade does. And I hate the Blade. Probably my least favorite. Then there's the Sponge, who's kind of hapless. Not necessarily offensive. But, it just thinks that, yeah, you need to write, but you also need to scrub something. Kitchen floor, bathtub, mailbox. Suddenly, every dirty place in your house or every domestic chore that you can think of will be there. Right between you and whatever you're using to write. And that's the sponge. And the fourth one has been despair. And despair is a little tentacled hole in the ground. And it wants to hug you, It's not bad. It's more likely to say, I know everything's terrible. Let's quit. I'll give you a hug. Let's just come over here and not work and not tire ourselves out. Let's just stop, because there's no point. While despair is terrible, it's one of my favorite drawings. My kid has done icons for all of these characters, by the way. Number 5 is what we're talking about today, and that is the nap. I have the nap on the live stream. It's over the chat, so that's not ideal. There it is. Okay, I'm going to put the nap up here, and then I'm going to make it go away. Everybody see the nap? The nap, if you want to look in the show notes, you can see it. The nap is just a pink pillow, dozing. Nothing wrong with it. What's wrong with the nap? The nap is one of those things, unfortunately, that it's also sneaky. It's like the sponge. Because everybody says we're not getting enough sleep. Power naps are wonderful. The Spanish have it right with the siestas. But if you have writing to do, you can often think, well, I'm too tired, and therefore I should take a nap. And if you don't structure it, which I believe science has said the 20-minute nap is wonderful, anything longer, you'll wake up feeling like you're moving through molasses. If you don't structure it, then it can ruin your day and definitely ruin your creativity. So the nap is difficult to handle. And so I've got some ideas about what to do about the nap when it attacks you and stops you from writing. And the first thing is what I've heard called sleep hygiene, which makes me just think of scrubbing my bedroom down with a like a sudsy brush for some reason. And I don't have anything in my bedroom that should be scrubbed with the brush like that. Not, bedclothes, carpet, clothing. No. But that's, for some reason, think of my bedroom in a cartoon and just scrub it down. That's sleep hygiene. But it often includes reading in bed, removing screens from your sight about an hour before bed, perhaps a cup of tea, having it early enough to where you don't have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom if you're older than 40. There's a thing about blue light. I think that the blue light's bad. Perhaps chat can set me right. I can't remember. I know that a lot of times you can tell your device to emit a certain frequency of light that's better for your brain at night. But usually you can just set that to be automatic, and I recommend you do. And the hardest, especially for people with ADHD, would be to go to bed on a reasonable schedule. Maybe even go to bed when you're tired. A lot of people, I forget what it's called, it's like sleep debt or something, or sleep rebellion? No, I don't know. But it's when people think, I have dedicated my waking hours up to now to being an adult, pretty much. I want some me time. I want some computer game time. I want some hangout time. I want to have a drink. I want to watch a movie. I want to hang out with a friend. I want to chat with my husband. I don't want to go to bed, because when I get up, I'll have to give all those hours to being an adult again. So we rebel by taking away our own sleep, which sounds completely reasonable. I did this when my kid was an infant. When you're a new parent, they say sleep when the baby does. And that makes sense, but I realized when the baby slept is when I could actually do something for me. And sleep is something for me, but, it was nice to not have to... We called it the radar when the kid was young. It's like somebody has to have their radar on all the time. And when the kid went to sleep, that was when you could at least dial it down to very low level. So yeah, the rebellion is very understandable. And I admit I still do it. But it's also not good for you. Because when you do the sleep rebellion, then the next day, that gives the nap more ammo. Because you're going to be tired. The length of the nap, it irritates me. The whole 20-minute thing. People in chat are saying they are often set timers, which is a great idea. Because when you wake up after 20-minute nap, you often feel like you need more. And usually if you get up and walk around, your body will wake up pretty fast and you'll be fine. But I hit snooze more often during a nap than I do in the morning. For some reason, I like getting up at 7 or 8. But that 20-minute, like they've done science about it, you can't really argue with it. But here's something fascinating. And again, if this has an official name, I don't know what it is. If somebody in the chat can find it, let me know. But I believe it was Salvadore Dali who would go to sleep on his couch with a fork suspended in his hand. And so, he'd be going tired and closer to falling asleep. And once he got enough asleep to where his hand relaxed, he would drop the fork on the floor and the noise would wake him up. And because his mind went into the layer of almost dreaming, that would give him a lot of inspiration. I don't know if you do that, you will get weird, surreal inspiration like Dali did. Or if you would just get good ideas. I've never tried it, actually. I guess it would have to... I have... all my couches are on carpet, so maybe I'd have to drop a bell or something. I don't know. But it's an interesting idea and a way you could trick the nap into working for you. Because, the nap's not mean. Like the sponge, the nap just wants you to make sure you get everything done before you write. If you wake up from the nap at 20 minutes, it's not a bully. It's a buddy. And you can quote me on that. Wireduck in chat, hello Wireduck, says, Dali and Thomas Edison both did something like that. I knew it was somebody else, thank you. And so apparently they say the nap can work for you. The problem? The problem is, when you're tired, you usually don't think of creative ideas like that. So if anybody does the Dali thing, let me know. Because, my next nap, I might think, I don't want to go find a bell, I just want to go to sleep. So, that's a little difficult. It is hard to say the nap is bad because you really need it, and oftentimes you can make it work for you. Again, science said so. But I think when we use it as an escape, and when you've done it, a lot of people stress eat when they get upset. I just want to go to sleep. I just want to crawl into a hole with a blanket and go to sleep until things are better. That is just how I'm wired. So, again, the nap feels like a happy friend. Or a sleepy friend. But it's not good. In chat, Maldarian says, I think anyone struggling with sleep apnea could probably talk about their levels of creativity. Interesting. I'm actually probably going to do a sleep study soon. I this is a complete non sequitur. I made an appointment online. They always say when you call them, hey, you can do this online and we don't even need to employ a receptionist, which means one other job we can remove. But I tried to make my appointment online and, my doctor had a slot today. So I made the appointment to say, hey, I want to come in and talk about a possible sleep study. And then I got an email saying my appointment was canceled when I hadn't even confirmed making it because it wasn't official till they confirmed it. So I called and they said her first available was in 2 weeks. And I guess I'm thinking, my problem isn't like I'm super sick or I'm even minorly sick. So they're pushing me off, which is annoying. But, if someone had the flu, if I had the flu and I wanted to see somebody and I knew there was somebody who just got in that day a step ahead of me to talk about a sleep study, I'd probably be mad. This happened to me last summer when I was in the hospital for gallbladder removal complications. Gallbladder removal complications. And they had to keep me because they wanted to do a very easy procedure, but because of the holiday, nobody was in who could do it. And they didn't want me to go home and eat, and they can't trust me if they say, go home and don't eat. So they kept me in the hospital just so I could not eat. And I could wait for the procedure. And then I had to wait 2 more days in the hospital for the procedure because I wasn't in pain anymore. I just still needed the procedure, but I was not an acute case. So I got to spend 4th of July in the hospital watching fireworks online. Oh boy. This feels like that, except for I get to eat and I'm home. Again in chat, Maldarian says, I suspect the best way to maximize creativity is to be well rested, well fed, with as much stability as can be had in these trying times. Yeah, true. It's just very difficult to get all those things. And that's basically the best recipe for anything. Yoga and eating right and going outside is not going to cure actual mental illness, but it can give you a really good baseline to then put whatever other help you need for dealing with mental illness. It gives that a boost. The last sleep study you participated in had to be done in a lab, not at home. It was weird, I bet. I'm kind of hoping we don't do that, but we'll see. I need to come up with the time to do some giveaways, because I've got some books that I've gotten from authors and publishers. The Princess Knight, Love is a Battlefield, and Blondes Duel It Better. It's a pun. A pun title, get it out of your house immediately? Oh no, there are plenty of puns around here. Disliking puns and getting violent about them are 2 different things, and I like my family who also like puns. Yeah, we just had a break, and we're going to have... I was pointing out that I've got some books, and I want to give them away soon. I've got an arc of The Princess Knight. Domhnall and Clea, this is probably Anglo-Saxon, or Anglo names, or Saxon names. I don't even know. Are an ideal match, or so everyone says. They're prince and princess of neighboring kingdoms, an alliance the gods would smile upon, until Domhnall ruins everything by refusing to propose. Clea devises the perfect plan, follow him to... They're just trying to mess with me with these, Irish or Welsh words. I don't even know. The military academy he's attending. Show him she can protect her kingdom. Secure the betrothal. The castle has a brutal reputation, but how hard can dueling really be? So it looks like... Yep. Okay, love triangle. Love triangle with a lady with a sword, so that's pretty cool. Yes, Midsolar Murders, yes. No, actually, I asked for Midsolar Murders. That was a pun created by a friend of mine who does a lot of puns. And when they didn't like any of my titles, I suggested that one, and this was interesting. They said that giving that title to a book was too frivolous, and it implied too much. It implied it's going to be a parody, or much more connected to the idea of Midsummer Murders. But using that name for the series, they liked. So we have non-pun titles, but that for the series. So I can live with it. I like it. I don't hate puns. I just don't like bad ones. And the ratio of good puns to bad puns, I mean, yeah. When I think about my favorite jokes in the TV show Arrested Development, most of them involve puns. They're just not puns where then they go, eh? There's a yacht called the Seaward, Seaward, and Job bought the Seaward, and Michael tells him in front of their mother to get rid of the Seaward, and the mother says, I'll leave when I'm good and ready. So, that's the kind of pun I like. Also just arrived, we have Lore of the Tides and Lore of the Wilds. And I am not giving anybody any credit for this. I am sorry. This is by the Princess Knight is by Kate Jacobs. And these lore books are by Annalie Sabrana. So, very pretty covers. Oh, they did the thing. Book Talk's gonna be mad about this. So, they have, I'm looking at the spines. I don't know if you guys can see it. Looking at the spines. And so the paperback obviously is the first book. Also, the paperback has a 1 on it. The hardcover does not have a 2. They are very similar. They have like mushrooms. They both have different. Oh wait, one's a jellyfish, one's a mushroom. Yeah, so they got mushrooms and jellyfish on either end, and they have the same font, but they don't have the number 2 up here. And I know Book Talker people don't like that. But maybe they'll put the 2 on the paperback. Who knows? But I have these, and this is a library with a deadly enchantment, a fey lord who wants in, and a human woman willing to risk it all for a taste of power. Seems legit. I like magic libraries. Deadly enchantments. I'm all for it. And so Lore of the Tides, which is the new one, is the exciting and passionate conclusion as Lore navigates fey magic amid looming dangers that threaten to destroy her world. Huh. Is this a duology? I'm actually not sure. I guess so. Weird. Not many of those around. But they said it's a conclusion. This is dedicated to every block reader who grew up looking for themselves on the fantasy shelves. This one's for you. Awesome. Yeah, these are the 2 books that Annalie has. So, I want to give jellyfish are not good as counting as mushrooms. Yes. So, I think I'm going to have a day. I'm just going to give away stuff. Oh, I had a fun day this week of playing with the story engine. I realized I was stuck in my writing because essentially my fantasy book is about people who've already accompanied a chosen one on their adventure to save the world, the city, the queen, whatever. And then they got just basically left behind. And so they all get together and start an inn. The thing was, I had the previous adventure of my main character mapped out, but I didn't have any of the others. And I realized I needed to know all the other characters and what their previous adventure was. And so yeah, I just sat around on the floor playing with the story engine to come up with come up with some basic plot points. And it was harder than I thought. Probably because I didn't use the right packs of I'm sorry, I can't talk today. Didn't use the right cards for the genres I was looking for. So I had some of them mixed up, and I had, the Cthulhu ones coming up when I just needed a fantasy. But it helped me come up with all of the basic plots for all my major characters. And that was fun. Here's the secret that I haven't told you guys. I own another copy of the story engine. I have 2 copies. I don't think I have 2 copies of everything, like the most recent ones, but I have a lot. And I've been wanting to give stuff away, but I just haven't. It's like, I love giving away stuff on the stream because it's more immediate and exciting. The problem is that, well, I love y'all who do come, but not a lot of people come. So while it's exciting knowing you've got a really good chance, one of the points of doing a giveaway is to increase interest in what you're doing. So, yeah, it's, I should probably plan a giveaway on the podcast and just have people email me. But yeah, I've got arcs to give away. I've got the story engine to give away. But what I want to talk about that's not going to be on the regular podcast, but is going to be on the Patreon version, is how realistic all this is. Because it's like me giving the advice of write every day. Do I write every day? No. The advice of read your story out loud, and then you'll be forced to read every word, and you'll find little things like repetitions or sentences that don't make sense. And because I've narrated my own books, I know that's true. Do I do it? Do I make the time to read the whole book out loud? No. Am I the one telling you to have good sleep hygiene, but I'm in bed thinking I can do one more hand of Balatro before I go to sleep? Yes. So this is all challenging. All of it. And I think all the screens have made us like more of dopamine hunters. Not even meaning that ADHD is a thing for most creative people. So it's really hard to implement these. But I'll tell you, I was playing Baldur's Gate last night, and around 10:45, I realized I was nodding off. And I thought, well, I could power through and keep playing, or I could go to bed like a person who listens to their body. And I went to bed. It was weird. But it's, often something you need to think about and act on. I do the blue light thing. I often try to read a book in bed. But the problem is I like to go to sleep listening to books that I've read before. It's just kind of a comforting sound, which means my phone has to be nearby, which means I look at it for more than just selecting the book. How often do you find yourself reading books and stories you've received from a giveaway or from free? I get sent a lot of books. If they interest me, I will try to read them, but if I'll drop them pretty fast if they don't, just because there are other books I want to read. If I'm interviewing the author, I'll read much more than the other books that just come or land on my Kindle from NetGalley. I have the issue of, I have my own attention problems, and reading is kind of scary. I hate admitting this, but reading is kind of scary because I'll either not get hooked and therefore feel bad about myself because I can't just dive into a book, or I'll hyper focus on it and I will do nothing but read. And then I will come up feeling like I have a book hangover. So it's like reading like a normal person or a healthy person. That's a challenge too. Nothing's easy, man. Being an adult sucks. I asked Andrea Stewart if she reads her books aloud to herself while dating and revising, drafting and revising. She said she definitely does not. I'm coming for your sleep habit. Yeah, okay, Kimmy. Today we're talking about the nap. This is the nap. The nap is bully number 4. Number 5. Number 5. Yes, bully number 5 is the nap. And the nap is what some people do instead of writing because they're tired and they don't do good sleep hygiene, so they don't do a reasonable length of time for their nap, which is about 20 minutes for most people. Or they don't take care of themselves at nighttime to have good sleep habits, so they don't sleep well, so they need a nap the next day, and so on and so on. The nap is like the sponge. Do you need to sleep? Do you need to clean your house? Yes. But do they get in the way of your writing sometimes? Yes. So, they're not necessarily bad, but you just need to know when to properly do them. And I'm admitting that sleep hygiene is a real challenge. The ADHD thing is weird. I went to a friend's house to play some board games one time. And I walked in, and it looked like a Better Homes and Gardens layout. It looked like a department. Not a department. I'm not trying to say it looked bad. It was beautiful furniture, beautiful floors, walls. But it's like they had shelves with just vases on them. And it really looked like somebody had made up this house generically pretty and moved the family in. And I actually asked them if they'd been there a while. And they said no, they've been, or if they were newly moved in. And they said, no, we've been here for years. And it's taken me so long to realize that I have the ADHD problem of if I don't see it, it goes away. And when I first heard that the object impermanence thing was a thing, I'm like, I'm not a 6-year-old. I know that if you take the orange behind the screen, that the orange still exists. But no. I realized that, like, I'll buy these purses or bags or something with this great system of pockets. And you can put all the things in the pockets and everything goes in its own place. And when I put these things in these pockets, I forget they're there. I could carry them around with me and be going, does anybody have any lip balm? I don't even think to look in the pockets. Not at all. So yeah, object impermanence is a very real thing for me. So if I get something and I put it away to where I can't see it, I'll forget it exists. And that is why my desktop is a neat person's nightmare, because when I download a file, I download it directly to my desktop because then I won't forget about it. And it sucks. I don't like it. So when I go into somebody's house and it's clean from clutter, I wonder what's wrong. I feel like something's wrong. I visited a friend over last weekend, and their house was gorgeous. And yeah, they were giving a party, but still, their bathroom looked like it was a bathroom for a hotel. And it was very nice, very beautiful. But yeah, the little things I have and all over my house, I don't see it at all. But neither of these people had books. Neither of them. I always distrust that. I know one of them has a bookshelf in the basement. Which, if you could see my body language, I'm twitching a little bit, but it's better than not having any. Yeah, so, I don't know. I admire people who can have houses like that. But I honestly wonder where all their stuff is, because it's not where I can see it, so it doesn't exist. And they tell me like, oh, the upstairs is messy. The upstairs is like where all the kids' games are, and we have a gaming room and where all the switches are, and this is why I'm not allowed to have a desk with drawers. Makes sense, Wire Duck. My problem is this room that I'm in is our guest room, and even pre-pandemic and lockdown, we didn't entertain overnight very much. So this has often been a junk room where we put things that we don't want, like, big closet. And since I took it over pretty much for streaming, I have put like a desk in here, but the desk has no drawers. And I've realized that I have a real problem with lack of space to put anything. And the problem is, since our minds can't actually process all of the stuff that we leave out, we get the invisible corners, which like junk just goes there to die. And we can't see it to clean it up. When we moved my mother-in-law into assisted living, I got one of her bookcases, and it's small, but it filled up like that. Like that. It's full. And now I'm stacking books on top of it. Yeah, I have a problem. And like I said, I haven't read all of them because a lot of times I fear diving into a book for the reason I said earlier. So, realistically, let's be honest. I think setting a timer for a 20-minute nap, I think that's realistic. I I think maybe saying that you're gonna read a book before bed. I'm just saying what I've been able to do. So what's realistic for me. Maybe not turn off screens an hour before bed, but maybe half an hour and go up and read. That's doable. If I want to read on a device, I'm not sure where that falls in things. I've got a Kindle Paperwhite. I think that's supposed to be better for my eyes than the screen. But I'm not buying from Amazon anymore, so that... Oh, I can read ARCs there. I can send ARCs directly to my Kindle. That's a use of it. Okay. It's very hard for me not to want to rob sleep from myself. Rob sleep from nightmare. Because there are things I want to do. And even though I don't have a kid who needs attention, not that I ignore them, they don't need me to feed them and put them to bed kind of thing. I still feel like, I'm done with the day, like at 9 o'clock, and I want to have a drink and play a video game or watch TV. And, getting that late for those things is maybe not the best. But I want it because I deserve it because I've worked all day. I'm afraid to win more books to add to my TBR pile, but I also bought 5 books this weekend. Yes. Well, I just attended Natanya Barron's book launch of Queen of Mercy, and our mutual friend Samuel Montgomery Blinn did. He's just amazing. He's done magazine editing, and he's a really good interviewer. And he'll read the book and put a whole bunch of notes in to make sure that he gives the best interview. And so he gave a fantastic interview. Got to hear Natanya read. They sold out of the first 2, so we have book 3. And I got to get book 2 from somewhere else. I guess I'll order it from Flyleaf. Flyleaf Books, support your local independent bookseller, please. But yes, this is out now. So if you like King Arthur retellings, if you like a feminist look at some things, if you like people grabbing small people out of myths and making them large, check out Natanya's stuff. She's brilliant. But I think the point I was going to say is I bought that when I was out, and I bought 2 other books. So yeah, been there. Good morning, Sci-Fi S5 Flare, excuse me. Underpope went to a book fair a couple of weeks ago, bought many books, including one by Maldarian. Awesome! Have yet to touch any of them. Well, you know what? The author appreciates it, I'm pretty sure. Natanya Barron was great, one of my favorite episodes. Thank you! I'm going to tell her that. I think that'll really mean a lot to her. Yeah, I need to read her other series as well. And, of course, the bookstore didn't have any of those because they all sold out. So good for Natanya, bad for Mur. But yeah, I should have Natanya back on because she's just so smart and so funny. She's a good friend, but she's like just far enough away to where getting together easily is not easy. So we don't see each other as much as I'd like to. I think it's probably time for me to close it up. I feel more energetic and happier after talking to you guys, as I always do. As I said earlier, I came here after hyper-focusing on my writing for hours, and I didn't really want to do it. But I appreciate it. And be sure to follow The Kids Are Asleep. Valerie and Eric do gaming on a much more regular basis than I do streaming, and that is every weeknight except for Friday at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Sorry, I got distracted by the follower. Welcome, new followers. Valerie's always fun, and Eric's always fun. And Eric does improv music on Saturday, so good people to follow. I don't know if there are any other streamers who have dropped by. If there are, I apologize for not saying hi to you. I hope that everybody is doing well with all things relative, Happy Pride Month. Know that wherever communities I have and I'm in charge of will always be welcome to all people except for those who are intolerant. And I want to say that I see and care for my trans brothers and sisters and siblings. So, wanted to say that. Thank you for listening to I Should Be Writing. You can email me at mightymur@gmail.com. and the podcast and show notes are at murverse.com. My next book, Infinite Archive, is getting great reviews. I got another one before I sat down today, and I should have pulled it up so I could read it to you, but I'll read it to you next time. But yeah, my next book is Infinite Archive. It will be out July 1st, 2025. I do co-edit Escape Pod with Valerie Valdez. We did our 20th anniversary show last month, and we're doing our 1000th episode next month. And you can see that at escapepod.org. And if you want to support me, Patreon is a way to get early, extended, and ad-free episodes. And but otherwise, it's free, and I hope you enjoy it. And I gotta go, because you should be writing, and so should I. Or I should be writing, and so should you. That's a better way to say it. Thank you for listening to I Should Be Writing, the longest-running writing podcast in existence. This episode was made possible by the Fabulous, who support the podcast via Patreon or Substack. Join the Fabulous at patreon.com/mightymur or mightymur.substack.com. Theme music provided by John Anelio, art provided by Numbers Ninja, and podcast hosting provided by Libsyn. This episode is released under Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives 4.0 license. You can find all of my books and podcasts at murverse.com.
I should be writing. I should be submitting my next draft, but I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who. Yeah, I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who.